Everybody, it's Ben Kotnik at Suburban Food Farm. We're doing a little bit of bench grafting today, and we're working with apples. So to get started here, I want to share some of my experience about grafting. I've grafted tens of thousands of trees, and I'd like to show you my technique that's been refined over that time. I want to give a quick shout out to Jim Neitzel, who taught me all this stuff. So thanks a lot, Jim. Hope you're doing well in that garden in the sky. So what you need then is these tools. So you need some hand pruners, you need some sort of knife, a pen, and then some parafilm and some nursery tape, either green or clear. You also need a piece of scion wood, which is the cultivar or variety that you're looking to propagate, and then you need some sort of rootstock. And you can do this, I'm gonna do just a wedge graft for you. You can do this on a tree that's either in your hand like this one here today, or on a tree that's in the ground. So with that, let's go ahead and get into the process, okay? So I'm gonna use something that's sharp and that's sterilized. I'm gonna go ahead and start by making a wedge. So I'm gonna just cut down, and then flip it over. And I'm looking to make a wedge that's about 3/4 of an inch long or so. And I want to make sure that I go 180 degrees apart as I'm making this wedge. So I'm pretty happy with that. This is what I have. You can see how thin that is. And what I need is the light green that's just underneath the outer bark that's called the cambium. I need that cambium to match up with what's going to be on my rootstock. So I'm going to keep 1 to 2 buds on my scion piece. In this case, I'm going to keep 2. I'm going to go with 1, 2 buds, make a cut right about there. This is my piece of scion that gets saved for another graft. So this is my little stick. I'm going to pre-wrap that in parafilm. I don't need a lot. About that much or so, and I need to stretch it as I go. So I place it on the stick, and I start to stretch it. And then I just wrap it up, and I make sure that there's no gaps, that I cover the entire stick. I don't want to put more than about 2 or 3 layers on the bud, just because the buds will pop right out of this parafilm, no problem. The parafilm also degrades in the sun, so there's no need to remove it. But as you can see, it's nice and thin at the top. And so we're ready to work with our rootstock side. So we'll set that out of the way. So then I have this right here. I want to take a look at my rootstock. Where is it that I want to go? I want to match the caliper basically. So if you're beginning, I suggest starting a little bit higher than you might expect, just because you can always cut off a little bit more. But for this one here today, I'll go reasonably low here. I'm going to go right here and utilize this nice sort of straight piece of the rootstock. So I'm going to cut that. This is discard the top of the tree. And now I'm going to go ahead and take a look, to match the caliper there. This is nice because I can cut basically right across the center. If I have mismatched calipers, then you do like an off-centered, wedge graft. So I'm going to cut this right down the middle. So you're going to see that right now. And just for a little bit of protection, I usually put a towel over my hand when I'm bench grafting. Just size it up one more time, right there. So then I start to do my cut, and you want to be nice and patient here. It'll take a second for this to start to go, but once it does, it'll move. So I'm applying a little bit of pressure, and now you can see I've started to get into the wood, and now it'll go nice and easily. I need a little bit more length on the cut. Using the tools that I do, I can oftentimes pivot right off the top to get that last little bit. And then I check the length, and the length is about right there. So I remove my tool, set that aside, and I insert that little stick, and I have it match up perfectly on each side. And so I can squeeze it together, and I'm going to wrap it in the green tape now. So before it's wrapped, here's what we've got. And I need about, a little less than a foot or so, about a foot of tape for this. You can start at the top or the bottom, it's your choice, but you want to wrap this fairly tight. So when wrapping, I use my finger to sort of keep that initial loop together. And then I can squeeze and wrap. And you'll see I have a little bit of a gap here between the parafilm. I can always just cover that with the green tape. It works just fine. You don't want to cover a bud with the green tape though, a bud on the scion piece. Doesn't matter about the buds on the rootstock. So come on back down. And now it's time to tie this off. So I go around and through. And as I'm tying this off, I come in the same direction that I've been wrapping, and I pull nice and tight. And then here's my finished graft on my rootstock. And so with this then, now I'm ready to either plant this in the yard or put it into a pot. And so this is a great way to establish an orchard, get familiar with your own propagation. I have another video about how to process bulk rootstocks and stuff. So go ahead and like my channel, like this video. I have a lot of good information, I feel. So thanks for joining us. I'm Ben Kotnik at Suburban Food Farm, and it's time to go put this little tree in the ground and say, grow, baby, grow, baby, grow. Thanks a lot.